Trekcast.
The galaxy's most unpredictable Star Trek podcast.
Oh man, hope everything's okay with Chad.
Yeah, I don't know what's up, but
Yeah, not either.
He just didn't watch First Flight. There's nothing wrong.
That's what it is. All those Hallmark movies have to be watched. It's the season.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
You want to start us out?
Yeah. So what do we're gonna like add stuff in post?
I'll have to, because I can't do it
okay.
here. Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Cool. I'm a little rusty, but
Yeah.
you know. Hello and welcome to Trekcast, the galaxy's most unpredictable Star Trek podcast. I am one of your hosts, Dan Lombardo. With me, as almost always, Daniel Reyes. Not with
Hello.
us. Hey, not with us is Chad Waldo. Chad had a family thing, so he had to bail on us, but it's fine. It's cool. We'll muddle through. It happens. It happens. So I don't have Chad's Post-it in front of me, so
Yeah.
I don't know the
The order of things.
It is the order of things.
It is the
Victory
order
is life.
That's right. Well, how's your week been, man? It's been a couple weeks since we did the show.
Yeah. It's been 2 weeks since we did the show. Christmas lights aren't up yet because I've just been putting off getting on the roof. But I don't know. I think today's the day. I think I do an episode of Trekcast and then I pull the ladder out and get up on the roof. So, yeah, that's my day. That's what I have planned. How about you?
Do you go like full bore? Like, do you put a bunch of lights up or just like a little bit?
No, I Griswolded up over
Nice. Nice.
there. It's in my head there's a competition, but really there's no competition. It's me.
Nice.
It's me. Yeah.
Right on.
How about you? What's going on?
Nothing, man. I just had a family Thanksgiving last week for Thanksgiving.
Oh yeah, that's right. That happened.
Huh?
I said, oh yeah, that happened too.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Christmas lights and stuff, but yeah, we had Thanksgiving over here too. That's cool.
Yeah. Right on. I had a Friendsgiving last night. I was out really late.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So.
How was that? Where'd you guys go?
My buddy's house, my buddy Josh's house. I made a big thing of pesto pasta salad.
Okay.
And it clearly was not a hit because I came back home with a lot of pesto pasta salad. Yeah.
It happens.
It happens. So, yeah.
That's all right. You'll be bringing it for lunch all week.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So, yeah. No, it's all good. It was a good time. I had a lot of fun. And yeah. I think my buddy Matt might be listening to the show. Which
cool.
So hi Matt. And also people should check out his webcomic Catbeard. He's been running it for a long time, like 10 years I think.
Wow.
And he's about to produce his last comic book. So it's a big deal for him. So yeah.
Calling it quits?
I think he's going to do a different story.
Yeah.
But, yeah.
All right. Cool.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So what do we got? We got some Star Trek news?
I got some Star Trek news. This is probably where I would play the sound effect. I'm sure. Yep. I'm sure it'll be there when people listen to this later. But yes, sound effect.
Star Trek news.
Anyways,
this is the symbol for
yes.
This is the visual aid for this is where the sound effect goes.
These are the sounds that you are hearing. Yeah. So our first news story comes to us from inverse.com, and Chris Hemsworth is out there kind of promoting stuff, doing interviews. He also recently had made some big news about how he's stepping away from acting after a pretty scary medical situation going on.
Really?
Yeah. Did you not hear about this?
No.
So he was been doing this show for Disney Plus. I think it's like their National Geographic channel. But it's called Limitless. It's all about like testing your limits as a person and all that.
Yeah.
So one of it was he did some sort of genetic testing just to see what he's predisposition for. And apparently, he is in one of the top high percentiles for potentially developing Alzheimer's. Like, he's just got all the bad markers for it.
Yeah.
So he doesn't have Alzheimer's, but he just has the markers for it. And so that really rattled him. And he's taking a step away from acting. He's spending time with family right now.
Yeah.
Probably just wrapping his head around it. So.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't blame him in the least. I haven't had any genetic testing, but my grandfather had it.
Mm-hmm.
I saw what it did to him. When I had COVID, I developed that brain fog.
Yeah.
That has not completely gone away. I still have some issues with that. And I'll be honest with you, it scares the hell out of me.
Yeah.
So as much as I want to see 100 more Thor movies,
mm-hmm.
Yeah,
no, I 100% get it, man. It's
more power to him.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
Yeah. But in one of the interviews recently, he was talking about the Star Trek 4 plot that we've kind of heard about. That him and Chris Pine, father and son, road tripping across the galaxy. He likes the idea.
Thelma and Louise, but it's Kirk and his dad.
Yeah. He said the way it was kind of pitched to him is basically the space version of Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. Father and son on an adventure. I mean, not exactly that, but kind of that feel.
Yeah.
He says, though, one of the big issues he had with the script is the fact that he's coming to play George Kirk, but it's 15 years later. So how is George Kirk 15 years older than when he died?
Yeah.
Yeah. I guess Marvel has really gotten to him. He did suggest why not his George Kirk be from an alternate timeline.
Well, he would have to be.
Yeah.
He would have to be, or it would have to be he was plucked out of the Kelvin right before it exploded and has been living somewhere for 15. I mean, they have to do something.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's visually older than he was when that movie came out. Even in the last Thor movie, just looking at his face, he just, not so much his body. He's still a ripped dude, but his face, he definitely looks older than Avengers and the earlier Thor movies.
Right. I mean, that happens to all of us, but
yeah, no, I look in the mirror. I look in the mirror every day and I'm like, yeah, this is what it is.
Very cool. Our next news story comes to us from trekmovie.com. I don't know if you guys have seen the video making the rounds, but recently Star Trek invaded Heathrow Airport.
I did.
Yeah. It's a pretty great video.
Yeah.
For those of you who have not seen it. Yeah. It's basically just a viral promotional situation. They are promoting that Paramount Plus is now on British Airways, so that's why they were at Heathrow. And it's a pretty fun video. They're all walking around. It's all these actors dressed up like Star Trek characters.
Yep.
Did notice that they were using the Strange New Worlds uniforms,
and
the early Discovery uniforms. So none of the old stuff.
Yeah.
A couple Vulcans in there too.
Yep.
So,
but it was cool seeing just like, the regular people noticing them and throwing up the Vulcan sign, and that's real. That happens.
Yeah.
That happens. I've been to Star Trek conventions where, before you are at the convention, you're out on the street just in the regular world, but you're wearing a Starfleet uniform, and the regular people notice and they smile and they throw those salutes up. So I mean, it's out there.
It's one of the most iconic hand gestures.
Yep.
Yeah.
So
it's very cool. It's a fun video. If you get the chance, it's on YouTube.
Check it out.
Check it out. Yeah. And our last news story comes to us from comicbookmovie.com. And recently, Zoe Saldaña was on this show Hot Ones. I don't know. Have you ever seen Hot Ones?
No.
So Hot Ones is a pretty fun show.
I mean, she's a hot one.
For sure. But that's not the hot one they're talking about. It's a show where people eat pieces or eat chicken wings, but
Okay.
each chicken wing is progressively hotter,
Oh boy.
like spicy hot.
Yep.
So it's hilarious watching the celebrities like crumble to this thing. They did one maybe a couple years ago now with Tom Holland, and poor boy's about to cry, man. That is way too much spice for that boy. It's great. Anyway, she was on there promoting Avatar and the
Avatar. What's that?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh, is that Airbender? That Airbender thing?
That's right.
They did another one of those.
Ong.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Which
Very
people
cool.
listening when I say Ong are going to be flipping out about how mad they get.
Ong.
Yeah, it's supposed to be Aang, but in the movie version they pronounced it Ong, and like fans went nuts how pissed off they were about it.
How's it spelled?
Was it AAG?
AAG. Okay. It's too bad Chad's not here. Wong. It's
It's AANG.
AANG. All right.
Yeah. Anyways, so she was on the show, and they asked her what is the key difference between Marvel fans and Star Trek fans. So it was kind of interesting because I know, Dan, you're a fan of both, so am I.
Yeah.
But she did say that one of the big differences is for Star Trek fans, Star Trek is far more emotional, and that they tend to be fans for generations, being that like it's a thing that they watched with their grandparents or their parents, or they watch with their kids. It's like a family event instead of Marvel, which is you and your buddies.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Yeah.
When the big Marvel movies come out, well, not so much now, but pre-COVID,
Mm-hmm.
when the big Marvel, when a Marvel or a Star Wars movie came out, it was my dad, my brother, his two sons, and me.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually it was that same group, but me and my son.
Right.
So I mean, there's, 3 generations of Lombardos, multiple branches of that tree going to see these movies. And it's like, you know what? We go see a Thor movie, and, granted, my father didn't see Thor movies when he was a kid, but he read those comic books.
Right.
So from his point of view, he had been waiting 40, 50 years for that movie to come out. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. I get your point. I think, also Marvel has not been around as long as Star Trek. Like the movies.
Not as movies. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not as movies. You know what I like to do when I'm out in the face world?
Mm-hmm.
When there's people complaining about, phase 4 is terrible and blah, 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
I have this picture on my phone, and it's the Lou Ferrigno Hulk standing next to the Eric Kramer Thor.
Yes.
And I post that, and I say, some of you have never seen the first Avengers film, and it shows.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, shut up. You're so spoiled.
Yeah.
You're so spoiled. You have 2 of these movies at least come out every year. They're all interconnected. It's one big, huge story, and you're complaining, about it. Meanwhile, this was my MCU when I was your age. But anyway.
Yeah. Well, that's all the news stories.
Okay.
So I guess now we're on to our main topic.
It's the main topic.
There you go.
Right.
Fun will now commence.
Yes.
I did it. We don't need any sound effects. We got me. So we put up a poll. We really took the lazy way out. We didn't know what to do this episode on. So I just put up a poll for a random episode of Star Trek for us to review. And I put up one suggestion, and then I said to, either vote or add another suggestion. The one I put up was I put up Samaritan Snare. That's the TNG season 2 episode 17. And the only reason I chose that one is that's the Pac-Led episode, and I just talked to Scott Strongbeard Bowders about doing some pack-led reviews on some
Nice.
classic Christmas stuff.
Oh,
So that
okay.
was, that was just in the forefront of my mind. And it was in the lead for a long time, but
It was.
and that got 9 votes, but in the end it lost out. 13 votes went to Enterprise, season 2, episode 24, First Flight.
Yeah.
So in a minute we're gonna talk about that for a little bit, but just the others that people suggested. Enterprise season 4, episodes 1 and 2 was added by Mike Medina, and that got 3 votes.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Lee suggested TNG season 2, episode 22, Shades of Grey, which that's the Clips. That's the Clips episode when they had the writer strike. That only got 2 votes, and somebody said, "This is the worst episode of Star Trek ever," and I commented that I see your shades of gray and I raise you a code of honor.
Yes.
So, we may have to circle back to that one and code of honor, and then 1 vote was Deep Space Nine, season 3, episodes 20 and 21, Improbable Cause and The Die Is Cast.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those were the choices, but Enterprise season 2, episode 24, First Flight, that's the one that won out. And this one is basically it's a bottle. Well, it's not really a bottle episode, but it's a flashback.
Yeah.
It's a flashback episode. Captain Archer gets a message from Starfleet that his old friend Captain A.G. Robinson died in a rock climbing accident.
Which happens.
Which happens. He didn't have a Vulcan with
boots
with anti-gravity boots. So
yeah.
And the rest of the episode is Archer and T'Pol in a shuttlecraft, doing some science stuff, and he is telling her the story of his relationship with his friend, Captain Robinson. And Captain Robinson was one of the other captains who was in line to captain the NX-01 Enterprise. He actually beat out Archer to fly the NX Alpha, I think was the prototype.
I believe that's the case, yeah.
Yep, the NX Alpha.
To test the warp 2.5 barrier.
Yeah. This was the, Enterprise has it was a big deal. The Enterprise had the Warp 5 engine. I think this prototype had the Warp 2 engine or something.
Right. This episode originally aired May 14th, 2003. It was directed by good old George
LeVar Burton. I saw that. I have that in my notes.
Do you know who played A.G. Robinson? This is a fun fact.
No, I don't.
It's one of those guys that definitely you look at him and you're like, I know that guy from something.
Yeah, no. I looked at him. I'm like, I know that guy, but I wouldn't know his name.
So there's several reasons why you know that guy.
Okay.
The actor Keith Carradine.
Okay.
He is the half brother of Kung Fu master David Carradine.
Okay.
Yeah. He was also been in a ton of movies and a ton of TV shows.
Yep.
He was in Dexter for a while. He was in Cowboys and Aliens.
All right.
A bunch of other things. So that's why he's one of those. Oh, I know that guy.
Because he's that guy.
Yeah, he's that guy.
He's that guy.
Yeah.
So,
according to Wikipedia, this episode was based off the film The Right Stuff.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So.
All right.
I thought that was a fun fact.
I mean, to finish out the synopsis, Captain Robinson, he breaks the Warp 2 barrier in the ship. However, there's something destabilizes in the warp field. He ignores the order to abort the flight. The ship comes apart. It's a total loss. He survives. Starfleet at the advice of the Vulcan High Command, they suspend the project and go back to the drawing board. Archer is very pissed off. He and what's this guy's name? I can't remember his name now. The other
A.G.
captain.
Robinson?
Thank you.
Yeah.
He and Robinson get into a fist fight in a bar. They beat each other up. And they decide, along with Lieutenant Trip Tucker, they decide that they are going to steal the NX Bravo and perform the next test themselves to prove that the engine is sound and have Starfleet continue the project. And they do just that. And the project continues, Enterprise is built, and Archer is selected to be the captain. So that is pretty much the gist of what happened. It's a fun episode.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
It's very well loved by the fans.
Yeah. There's a couple of inaccuracies that bother me.
I have some questions. I have questions.
All right, you want to go first?
I've written down notes.
So have I.
We can just kind of go through these in order.
Okay.
I wrote them just as they came along in the episode.
Yep. So did I.
Perfect. So one of the first questions I had is they go to the bar. They keep saying, "I'm going to buy you a drink," which would infer they get paychecks.
Yeah.
So how much are they making?
I don't know, because we don't really know. At some point they abandon currency.
Right. Because they don't have money in Strange New Worlds, and from Enterprise to Strange New Worlds is roughly 90 years.
Yeah.
So somewhere in that point, they give up money.
But they're also inconsistent, because in Star Trek Generations, when Kirk is talking about his cabin, he says I sold it years ago.
Yeah.
Well, how did you sell it if there's no money? So I mean,
didn't Cisco buy land on Bajor?
He did, but that's on Bajor. So
right, and they're not Federation, so
so they're still using money on Bajor.
Right.
So, I mean, how does that work? Does he submit a thing to Starfleet that says, "Hey, I want to buy some land on Bajor. Can you
set that up for me?"
Can you? I don't have any money because I'm human. Can you send them?
I mean,
I don't know.
He is their religious icon. I don't think
That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he actually paid for it.
All right, what questions did you have? We'll go back and forth.
It was on the arm. It wasn't really questions that I had. It's just, I've said before that Star Trek would benefit from having a military advisor or a tactical advisor. And, the truth of the matter is AG was insubordinate. He was 100% insubordinate. He ignored the abort order. And he disobeyed an order, and he lost $1 billion piece of government equipment.
Yeah.
And if that was true, there would have been a court-martial. He would have been found incompetent. He may have been charged criminally.
Yeah.
He definitely would have received a dishonorable discharge. I mean, this is stuff that happens now, whether you're at fault or not. If you're a pilot and you lose a plane, even if it's obvious that you're not at fault, there's an inquiry. There may not be a court martial,
right? But they're going to look into
it. There's definitely an inquiry.
Yeah.
And some movies get that right. I mean, the first Top Gun movie, when when Goose got killed and Maverick had to bail out, and there was an inquiry and he was cleared. He said it wasn't your fault. There was the engine blew out or whatever. So, the idea that he would later go on to be in the running to be the captain of the first Warp 5 ship is just it's not realistic at all.
No.
And Archer too. Archer and Robinson together with Trip, they stole the NX-02. They should be in prison. That's where they should be.
Yes.
And and they know,
or at the very least out of the program.
Yeah. Forrest even acknowledged this by saying, he's going to try to keep them out of prison if they abort the test, and they disregard him.
Yeah.
They disregard. And Star Trek has a history of this where it's like, their captains are mavericks, and they go against orders when they have a gut feeling, and it works out in the end. So everybody's like, it worked out in the end. Nope.
Yeah. No, that's not how that works.
That's not the real world.
Yeah.
The real world is, hey, you're lucky it worked out in the end. Nobody got killed. You're not going to jail, but you're out.
In trouble. Yeah.
You're out. Here's your dishonorable discharge. Good luck. Good luck finding a decent job with a dishonorable discharge on your resume.
Yeah.
So those are my only problems with.
I've got a few more
with the episode.
Yeah.
I did notice an Easter egg. I don't know
if
you picked it up. So when Trip was telling Forrest and the Vulcans that the design is sound and you don't know what you're talking about, he mentioned another Starfleet officer. Do you recall who he mentioned?
No,
he mentioned.
I know the scene you're talking about, but
he mentioned Captain Jeffries. Do you know who Captain Jeffries is?
No.
That is a reference.
I feel like my punk card's being pulled right now.
Yeah, you're gonna have to.
Shame.
Yeah, you're gonna have to come down a peg. That's a reference to Matt Jeffries. Matt Jeffries, he designed the TOS Enterprise, the bridge, sick bay, and the Jeffries tubes are literally named.
That's his,
for him. So it was neat that they kind of folded him back in universe.
Yeah.
And referenced him by name. So
That's
I
cool.
thought that was neat.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like when they do stuff like that.
One of the questions I had, so they talked about that the engine, that the intermix was off, right?
Yeah.
So that makes me wonder, are these engines basically two-cycle?
Yeah. It's gas and it's not gas and oil, it's matter and antimatter, but
you
have the mix just right.
Yeah.
Could be. So what you're saying is the first Warp 5, the Warp 2 ship is like my Husqvarna chainsaw.
Yes.
That's what you're saying.
Exactly. You got to shake the can before you pour it.
Yeah, that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
And that was, what the problem was? It wasn't straight gas that they mixed. It had ethanol in it, and that ruins the.
That ruins it. That's been the problem all along. My other question was, this is just a dumb thing I saw and it made me laugh. So at one point they've taken the ship. They're going to go and try to break the 2.5 barrier.
Yep.
And Robinson is in the captain's seat, and Archer is sitting there next to him. Then Robinson's like, "Let's switch spots. I want you to fly this thing, right?
Yeah.
It's your turn." So they get up, they switch, but they're wearing spacesuits, which indicates there's no atmosphere in that ship. But apparently there's gravity because they don't float away as they switch.
Yeah, I don't know. Well, see, I have an even bigger issue.
Yeah.
Why are they switching seats? If this is a two-seater aircraft, shouldn't there be controls on both sides?
I mean, that's how any airplane is.
Yeah, for the co-pilot to take over.
Yeah.
And do we know where they launched from? Do we know where on Earth they launched from?
I think Cisco's Creole restaurant in Louisiana.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, I'm just thinking, I think they launched from the U.S. because the driver's seat is on the
on the right.
On the port side, not the starboard side. If they had launched from England.
Yeah.
So let's see. So the atmosphere, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I think the suit might be for in case they have to eject. I think there is atmosphere. Well, there's obviously atmosphere in there because they were talking to each other and they had their helmets off. The gravity. I mean, we don't know when gravity plating was invented. I don't know. Maybe
apparently, once we get gravity plating down, we get it down, man.
Yeah,
the ship can be blowing up, and it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The ship was spinning, though. That wasn't gravity. That was centrifugal force.
There you go.
Yeah. What else you got?
Oh no, that's it. I mean, those were the main ones. Other than T'Pol's uniform that she was wearing, looks like every corporate carpeting I've ever seen anywhere.
So one thing that, I noticed,
Uh-huh.
well, not really something that I noticed, something that I felt. I haven't watched Enterprise in a few years.
Yeah.
And it was nice going back to it.
Yeah.
It was nice watching it, and I know it was the redheaded stepchild of Star Trek for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
I think Discovery has taken over that title.
Mm-hmm.
And it's funny because a lot of people, their complaint about Enterprise is that it didn't feel like Star Trek at the time. It was too different than what they had been doing for 15 years earlier at that point.
And they
But
had the same complaint about DS9.
Yeah. But going back to it now, watching it, just like the production style, the effects,
Mm-hmm.
the way it's shot, it absolutely feels like Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess if you have to kind of like group Star Trek into eras, I mean, it's most definitely part of the TNG era.
Yeah.
It's not, in the past, it was kind of felt like, Voyager ended and the TNG era was over, and then Enterprise started this new era of different Star Trek, and that's just not the case. This is totally TNG era Star Trek, and I enjoyed it, and it made me kind of miss it all over again. And it made me kind of be disappointed that, hey, this show never got a proper send off. So, not to beat a dead horse, we know that Paramount listens to this show. We know that they
All
tune
the
in
time.
every Sunday morning. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure they have a an Outlook calendar thing that comes up to let everyone know Sunday morning. Don't forget to tune into Trekcast.
I'm slightly convinced that Chazbiz is Paramount spy because he's always there, just listening.
Yep. But these guys are all still around.
Yeah.
It's not too late. And, they've showed us over the last few years that, they're willing to do just about anything.
Yeah.
Discovery is proof of that. It was a prequel. It's a sequel. It's, they're changing centuries that they're in. They've gone back with Strange New Worlds and they're pre-TOS, but clearly its own thing. I mean, we've got animated kids shows, we've got animated comedy shows. 10 years ago, maybe the thought of going back and revisiting Enterprise was a crazy idea. It's not crazy.
No,
it's not crazy.
I would love to see some of those characters. I know it doesn't fit timeline wise, but you could be like the ancestors of on Lower Decks.
Yep.
Or just do a time travel show and they're there.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah. I mean, they could do it. They're all still around. They could do something.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a full season. They can do, a couple of, I mean, they used to call them made for TV movies, but now I think they're just movies.
Yeah.
They're just movies that.
Well, I mean, Marvel's
streaming movies.
That back with their Marvel.
You know what?
Special presentations.
You're absolutely right. Right. They could totally do some stuff like that.
Yeah.
And it's not, in the past it was like, oh, we'd have to build all these sets and blah, blah. So much stuff is done virtually now or in the computer or in front of a green screen or however you want to say it. That's really not
volume where the screens are behind them. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's not an excuse anymore. So I guess this is me putting my foot down and saying I want some more Enterprise.
What kind of scenario do you want? What do you want to see them do?
I don't know. I don't know. I just want more. Give me more. Give it to me.
They killed off Trip, didn't they?
Well, they have to undo that.
Yeah.
That's something they would have to undo. And I didn't read the books, but apparently it was undone.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? There's a real easy way to undo that. They just have to uncanonize the last episode. That's it. That's all they have to do. And no one is going to cry about that.
Mm-hmm.
There's not a person in the world who would complain about them disregarding the Enterprise finale.
Yeah.
I haven't met a single person who likes that episode. Not a single person. So that's an easy one. Didn't happen.
Yeah, I like that.
They've done it before. Disney, Disney did it with tons of Star Wars stuff.
Mm-hmm. The Legends series now.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then replaced it with lesser Star Wars stuff. But
I think if you do that with Star Trek, here's what I would call it. Like bad logs or corrupted logs. Like the digital file has been corrupted, so we're getting the wrong end of the story. Like it just come out bad,
Well, I mean, that whole episode was a holodeck recreation on TNG. So I mean, all they have to do is all right, I got it.
All right.
So we have Michael Burnham come out of a holodeck in the 26th century or whatever stupid century they're in. She comes out of a holodeck in the 26th century, and come to find out that episode was a holodeck recreation that she was watching. So Riker and Troy weren't real either. Those were holographic recreations, and it's been so many years that they got the details wrong. That's all it is.
Okay.
So it happened, but it happened on Discovery's holodeck, so it doesn't matter. It doesn't count.
I like that.
All right, it's done.
I like that. That'll work for me.
So all those Paramount people who are listening right now, get on that, make it happen, fix it. Let's do it.
So we should come up with some show ideas. I mean, we've got a little bit of time before Christmas.
Yep.
So or maybe we should let people message us and tell us what they'd like us to do. Right now that we're kind of in a lull for Star Trek, So that'd be cool.
Okay.
We really don't have any feedback.
No feedback.
Because we so last minute put the show together, so we didn't put a call out for feedback, so that's why.
All right.
But
oh no, I have. You know what? I have an email here.
Oh, okay.
It says, "Dear Trekcast, I've been listening from the beginning. You guys are awesome. I want Daniel Reyes to have my baby. Sincerely, #1 Trekcast fan." Cool. All right. Well, thank you for that email.
That's right.
That was great. I love when we get positive feedback like that, and any chance for Daniel to spread his seed around the world.
That is the goal. That is the goal. So.
All right. Well, that's all I got.
Yeah, I don't have anything like that. So, well, right on. I guess that's pretty much wrapping it up. It'll be a short show.
Yeah, it's a short show. That happens.
That happens.
When one of us isn't here, the intermix is off. That's
the intermix is off. That's right.
The intermix is off.
That's right. Do we want to try to do an episode next week?
Well, let's talk about that.
We'll talk about that. Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Well, everybody, thanks for listening.
Thank you. Thanks for listening.
Keep posted on our social media. We'll let you know what's happening. And thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.